Hey everyone, welcome to Founders 365 with me, Steven Haggerty. Today I'm joined by the founder of Dijcom, Mr. Mitak Ahmed. How are you today, man?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Pleasure being here.
Thank you for
Thanks
being
for
here.
thanks for having me on the show.
No, thank you for being here. Um, Keen to get an understanding first and foremost of what you do, what you offer, and who you offer it to, and then we can dive into the story.
Sure. So Dijcom, I initially started Dijcom as a digital marketing company. Um, and I initially started it when I was about 19. And I worked my way up. But I've made a lot of couple of mistakes because I was still new into the business world.
Mm,
So Dijcom then transitioned and changed into more of like branding and more into the creative space of things.
yeah,
So now we just work with companies and just developing the brand, doing the creative sides to the business. So graphic design, UI, UX designs, logo designs, website designs, and just the whole branding itself and just developing the brand.
love it. 19 years old at the time when you started. Were you always into business? Were you similar to me, young teenager, always had their fingers in some pies?
Surprisingly, during school, I was more into football, sports. I initially wanted to be a footballer, but I started to get into more of the business world around 14, 15.
Yeah.
And that's when I really started writing my book as well, at the age of 14.
Wow.
And from there, I started having ideas. So I started basically at 14, but it came into fruition around 18, 19 when I
So
really
you
started to go
started
out.
writing a book at 14.
Yeah, yeah.
What were you writing about? What was the
Um,
book?
it was about my past, my
Hmm.
experiences, my childhood, the struggles I've been through as a man and growing into an adult,
Hmm.
and just more motivational and things that I've learned that life has taught me. Um, and yeah, I initially write it to share my story with the world, and hopefully people can read it, understand it, take something from it, and maybe won't make the same mistakes as I have, and learn some of the lessons that I needed to learn much more quicker.
Yeah. I love that you phrased that needed to learn as well. Because I
Yeah,
think a lot of people look back and go, oh, I learned so many lessons and things like this. But actually, it's those ones that you needed to learn are often the ones that empower you the most to go off and do what you need to do. For
I agree.
you, when you when you launched the business at 19, obviously it's changed a few, it's evolved since then, I should say even. What
Yep.
was it that made you go, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to create. This is what I want to focus my time on.
I realized that I always had my creative talents. I've just never noticed it. It was always there. And I've always been doing it on the side as a hobby. Um, and so I just thought, I thought about what are the problems out there in the world, especially in the business world.
Mm,
What are other businesses struggling with? And depending on what I'm interested in, what are my talents, how can I use that to the best of my ability to help other businesses, brands, and actually go out there and solve problems? I started with the mentality of making money, and then it all just changed somehow to just being me as a helper and just
yeah,
helping people um, with my
that's a really
book, with my writing,
that's a really
with
interesting
business as well.
point. How did the how did the business change? You know, from that mindset of I need to make loads of money, which a lot of people go into business with that thought, to the oh, actually, I want to serve, I want to help.
Sorry, off the I couldn't hear you.
Oh, you froze. You're back. You're back. That's good. My question was,
Yeah.
how did the business change when you made that switch in your mindset from making loads of money to actually serving and supporting and finding solutions?
um, I noticed that myself, I was a lot of, I was quite miserable. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. Um, and I felt like it was like a search within
Mm,
myself, to find the true purpose of what I want to be doing and what I really enjoy. So when I changed the whole business model and started doing things differently now, um, it affected everyone around me as well, because they saw how I changed and how the environment changed also. And then my team and everyone, we started being more flexible and open and more friendly and kind towards
Mm.
others. Like it was weird. It was just the way it happened.
I love that. It was weird. It was a weird time, but it had to happen.
Yeah.
How do you set yourself apart then? Because let's face it, there's a lot of branding agencies, there's a lot of marketing agencies, there's a lot of freelancers out there at the moment.
Yeah.
How do you as a business set yourself apart to connect with those customers that you need to connect with?
I always try to tell people that you're not just investing in or spending time and money in towards what I'm doing as a service or as a business, but you're also investing into who I am as a person. And especially because I'm doing brand development, and I'm going to be handling and managing your brand and looking after the creative side to it. Um, you would want someone as responsible and the person to be good
Mm.
enough to fit that role. So I always try to tell that. And with me, I have huge goals for the future.
I mean, you
One
want
of
to
them,
buy an island.
yes, I want to buy
Let's.
an island in
I
the
mean,
future,
you've brought
hopefully.
this up, so let's talk about the island.
Well, initially, I want to buy the island for people that don't have a chance to own houses or
Hmm.
um, buy a house, or people that have gone through a lot of things that don't get the support that they really need. For example, orphans, refugees, and just the poor and needy. But I want to just build an island where it gives people a chance to really be who they want to be, and build houses, build hospitals, build schools, introduce a new way of education towards the younger generation.
Love that.
And I really believe in the younger generation because they're the
Mm.
future. So that's really where I want to be focusing on in the future too.
What makes you so motivated? Because I've spoken to a lot of founders, a lot of business owners that have successful business like yourself, but they're not focusing on building schools and building islands and offering homes out. For you, what is it about that keeps you going? Why is that the goal?
I feel like it's been my childhood that's really motivated me the most, and I would say my mother. Which I haven't seen her since I was about 5, but she's always been a motivation for me, and the lessons that she has taught me has brought me this far.
Mm.
Um, and the things that I've been through my childhood have taught, like, made me a better person, and improved me as a whole person. And I would say the struggles that I've gone through, I always used to get depressed and have a lot of anxiety attacks from those issues that I used to face. But I think when I changed my mindset, it changed the whole perspective of how I look at things and how I look at life in general.
Hmm.
And I always want to put that idea out there that it's about how you treat others, that will get you far in life. And yeah, I don't want other people to go through what I've been through. And I know it's nothing compared to how so many other people are going through worse situations, but I don't want anyone else to ever feel the way I felt.
Mm.
And there was times where I felt really helpless and I had no support from anyone, and I had to do a lot of things on my own, had to mature up more quicker by myself. Um, when I was 15, I was thinking like I was 26, 30. I already had that type of mindset. And when I was living in a room for a couple of years, there were some nights I went sleep starving, but I used that pain to get up and sit down and start writing my book, just talk about things that I've been through. And I think I get my motivation more from my pain and suffering and
Hmm.
what I've been through. And I just keep telling myself that I don't want to ever go through that again. Um, as bad as that, I know there will always be problems, but um, I want to get better at handling it and deal with it. And I want to make sure I do that with whatever I do, whether it's a business or buying an online island.
Buying an island. That's good. Uh, but I mean, that's such an interesting viewpoint as well in terms of your book, because it sounds like this book was quite a transformational process for you as well to write, as well
Right.
as the reader is going to have a really unique insight into the difference of you as a person over that time,
Right.
which I don't think many books do. And
Yeah.
you'll have to send me a copy, and I'll have to read
I
it.
definitely will. My
Um,
book follows. Sorry to cut you off. My book
yeah, go.
follows like every step of my life. So every journey I took. So it follows like when I was 15, when I was 16, 17. So it's called Mitak's Incomplete because my story is still incomplete
Still going, man.
till
Still
till
going.
the day I leave this world. But it just follows what I'm doing. And hopefully I'm working on the part two at the moment. So it's still carrying on as the years progress. So
That's going to be great
yeah,
for you
it's
though as well in 20, 30 years, reading your first book and
yeah,
having that insight to your own journey from that new perspective in 20, 30 years. That's going to be quite something, I think.
yep. No, I mean, I want even my kids, if I do have kids in the future, and their friends and the younger generation to just see the journey that I've gone through and things that they could take out or do differently than
Yeah,
what I've done.
it's
And
fantastic.
that's really what it's about. Yeah.
Let's talk about
And my
support. Gone.
and the book is all goes to charity. So
Oh,
if you buy a
of
copy,
course
it
it
goes
does.
all to charity. I
Love
don't
it.
make a penny from it. No.
You're a good man. You're a good man. But let's talk about the support now then, because you mentioned about lack of support growing up and in those early teens. What have you done in the present day to make sure that that support environment is there for you? Because as a business owner, as a person, as a friend, as a all these other identities that we have, it can be super stressful, right? So how do you
Yeah.
now support yourself or build that support network around you?
So I've been in care. I've grew up in care. I've made a lot of connection with like social workers and their heads and the senior position roles. And I've done a lot of workshops that I introduced myself. I designed the whole self-development program that I run workshops with children that are in care at the moment. It's just more about developing yourself as a person and how
Mm.
to deal with problems, things that I didn't really get when I was in care and when I was living by myself with no support. So yeah, I've been doing that, and also with my friends, I'm always just trying to encourage everyone that I can to look at things in a different way now, from the old way.
And who encourages you?
Um, I think that's a really good question. I think I have a lot of role models. I have a lot of idols that I look up to. Um, uh, I don't know. I can give you a few. Malcolm X. I really like how what things he did. Martin Luther King, Tupac, and a lot of like Nipsey Hussle, even the younger
Hmm.
generations now. So I look at a lot of role models as well. Gary Vee. I watch a lot of his videos too. So I've always been in that, and also some of the professionals that I know, my mentors um, that I have currently as well, and my social worker too. He supports me a lot. So yeah, get my encouragement from them.
Good man. I'm glad to hear that. In terms of Dijcom, the business, you've got some huge personal goals that you want to achieve, and they're all fantastic, all coming from a great place. For you, in terms of the business, what does the business need to be doing to help you achieve that, and how do you plan to do that?
Well, in the future, I plan to work with a lot of brands, a lot of big brands as well, um, and also developing a new way of doing branding as well, and developing a business in a way. So I see myself working with a lot of big companies um, where I get paid from that, and also I have other ways to make money as well to help me support make the island goal a reality. Um, so yeah, I've got quite a few ideas. Yeah.
I love when people say I've got other ways to make money. Immediately, it just sounds suspicious.
I mean, as in like investing in properties,
Good man.
in stocks, owning shares.
Hmm.
So yeah, not the goal is not to be rich, but to be wealthy. Yeah.
Good. I like that. I like that phrase. What keeps you focused then? What keeps you focused on that end plan, that end goal when perhaps things aren't going right, or actually, even when things are going fantastic? Because often in those times, shiny
Mhm.
objects can come up and new opportunities can arise. How do you make sure that you're focused on that end goal every day?
Um, I read a lot of books, and I watch a lot of stories about other people around the world. And even when things are going great for me, um, I really like to just be appreciative about it, about what is happening for myself and the blessings that I get. But most of the times, I do get moments where I feel like just giving up and things are not going my way, um, and it's all going downhill. But I always tend to think about my end goal and what I'm trying to achieve. So it's always in my mind. I don't know.
It's
I don't know
ingrained.
how to. Yeah, yeah. So it's always in my subconscious
Mm.
mind to always keep going. Surprisingly, I only had 4 hours sleep today as well, because I've just been working. So yeah, I'm just hungry. I'm just hungry for more. I just want to be doing things, and I'm just really driven.
Yeah, definitely. You can see that for sure. From that point of view, then, when you start working with brands and you start working with businesses, what is it about those brands or that business that gets you most excited, that you can see that sort of that transformational change that you can implement in there?
Is mostly about the brand value. If it matches up with my values and what I stand for as a person, I really like to see that as in a brand.
Hmm.
And if I see a brand has a potential of really showcasing the value, I would love to do that and be there for the brand, to help them achieve that. So I feel like, yeah, that really helps.
Do you think there's many businesses at the moment, especially in the marketing and branding world, that forget to actually work with companies that are aligned with their values?
Definitely, I feel like they do. Yeah, I've
Why do you
seen
think
a
that
lot.
is?
I feel like most of the times they forget um, about the actual brand value, and they just end up trying to sell their products and services to customers, and they really don't understand what customers want, what the audiences want, what values they have, and making sure they're not damaging or hurting the brand or ruining the reputation. So, like I've seen a lot of brands that just go off track, um, but somehow they do come back back on track. But
But this
I've
is kind of
seen,
like you, though,
yeah,
right? When you first started the business at 19, like you said,
yeah,
you were in a different mindset. You were focused more on making the money, and actually over
definitely,
time, you perhaps, if you look back now, you perhaps would say that was off track. In the
yeah,
moment, though, I'm sure you didn't. I'm sure you thought this is
yeah,
fantastic. We're doing the right thing, and it
yeah,
was only after, so obviously, you looking at it and working that classic say, working on the business, not in the business, you
yeah,
allowed yourself to pivot,
yeah.
which is really nice. Do you think for you, one of those struggles is finding those brands that are aligned with the values in terms of your
Yeah,
personal values?
yeah, but I'd say that that probably would be one of my biggest challenge,
Mm.
um, just because I'm not that well known yet, um, at the moment, so there is no reason for another brand to come to approach me. So
Hmm.
I would always have to go out and look for businesses and find businesses and really learn about them and study about them before I even talk to anyone within the company. I really like to understand what they are, what the goals are, what the values are standing for. And if I do notice few things that um, which they're not doing, that they could be doing, I try to step in and fill in that gap.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like you said, like when I was 19 and when I started the other business, it was going off track. It was mainly because I didn't have any guidance, or
Hmm.
someone to come in and tell me like, "Hey, you guys going off the path. Let me bring you back on."
Yeah.
So that's really where I want to be as that person to bring the brand back into the value, onto the straight path. Yeah,
Shake it up,
yeah,
realign, and let them free, which is really
yeah.
great. One of my final questions for you then is, how can people find out more about you, dude? How can people, like you said, you're not so well known at the moment, but I can see huge potential. I think you're going to do some amazing, incredible things. So, how can
Thank you.
people connect with you? What sort of people do you want connecting with you as well? Because I think it's great putting out a big net, but actually, you need to put out the right net.
Yeah, yeah. Um, for starters, I'd say LinkedIn. I am planning to do a lot of talks around the UK, in the future too. So, but yeah, probably my LinkedIn and my email to get in touch with me. I'd love to have a chat. And yeah, I mean, the type of people I would like probably be founders, creative directors, um, anyone that has a message to send to the world. I'll be happy to work with
You'll be
you.
ready to be there.
Yeah, yeah.
Fantastic. Listen, thank you so much for coming on Founders 365. I look forward to
Pleasure.
reading your book. I look forward
Yep.
to reading all the chapters, and actually the next book and the book after that, because this is such a journey that you're on, and it's been
Thank
a
you. Thank
privilege
you
to
for
talk
having
to you.
me.
No,
No
thank you
worries.
for your
Thank you for
time.
having me.
Thanks everyone else for listening and watching. It's been Founders 365.